Hello and welcome! In today's video, we are gonna take a closer look at this pedal here. Now what is this? This is a pedal that I bought at an auction, and it's one of you DIYers out there who was trying to build a pedal and gave up on it. Most likely it was this person's first try and they got frustrated and decided that they didn't want to continue trying, and so they sold it for spare parts, basically abandoning the project. I know this because it was in the description that it doesn't work and they don't know how to fix it. And so I was thinking that because I bought it for spare parts, but I looked inside, I can tell exactly what the mistakes are. And so I was thinking today's video would be me just going through those mistakes and fixing this pedal and showing you how to do it, because I feel like these are the most common mistakes that I see and that I've made myself. So don't think that I don't make mistakes or that I haven't been a beginner. In a lot of ways I feel like I'm still a beginner. Hopefully this will help one or two of you out there who are stuck and you have a pedal and you feel like you can't make sense of it. And so we're gonna fix this broken pedal, and I'll show you how to do it, and hopefully if you are having issues with your pedal you can check and see if you have the same issues. I'll go through them now and hopefully you can fix your pedal. We will all be happier and good times will be had. So here's the pedal. Kinda cute. I'm not into Super Mario, so I don't really know what this is, but that's all good. First we need to open it up and take a look. I've also started up my soldering iron because we are gonna have to resolder a little bit. Now, I just want you to know, because I said that I have already peeked in here, I have given it a glance. I haven't been in here and really tried to figure things out. This is a kit from Music Ding. It's called Das Easy, which is like the easy one. So let's take a look here. The power positive is in the right place and the power negative is in the right place. So that looks good. We have a ground wire here, and if you look closely at this jack, and this is a very common mistake. I don't know if you can see it, but this is a ground wire and it's connected to power as well over here through the board. And so we know this is a ground, but that's not the ground connection. If you look closely, this is the sleeve, that's the ground. So the first thing we need to do is pull this wire out and pull this one out as well. The first mistake is not that you've mixed up the lead and the ground. That's a mistake. But the first mistake is this wire here should not be black. You should have color-coded wires, making sure that whatever you're making is either black or blue, depending on what color you want to use, but that you have black wires in this instant for your ground wires. You will not do mistakes as easily if you keep track of what color is what. I know that there are people out there who think that like only noobs are interested in color-coded wires and things like that, but that's not true. Next we have this wire here, which is the input, and it's broken off, but it most likely isn't a mistake. It's most likely just that the pedal has been thrown about. This wire looks a bit bare, which means that they didn't pre-tin the wire, which means that if something fell around inside the pedal, you know, it rattles around a little bit, this wire would come loose because it wasn't attached securely. I'm going to attach it back to the input. We need to rewire this a little bit, I think. I don't like this wiring that has been done right here. It's not technically wrong to do it this way, but I want to do it the way that I like to do it to make sure that it works the way it's supposed to be done. This person has also, again, not really pre-tinned their wires. Everything looks sort of kind of cold jointed. They might have also actually broken the switch, because I see this leg here is a little bit loose. I don't know if you can see that if you look at the connection when I move it. So we might actually have a switch that is broken, which is problematic. And I'm going to move it over to this one and give it the proper, my way of soldering these sort of switches, which I do because I actually think that is better. This goes to the jack. Again, not actually attached very well. And also this is a ground. Again, this person has done the same mistake a couple of times, and that is that they are not using the right colored wires. Pull both of these wires out, you can see that this is a ground wire, and I don't think we need it because we already have one ground here and one ground to the jack. And so I'm going to remove this one. And as you can see, this was the signal from the jack to the jack, and this was connected to lead, but it was a black wire, which I think we should use for our grounds. This wire here, this is connected to the ground, I'm pretty sure. Right, but it's connected to the stereo jack's upper, which would be the ground in this case because it's a mono, which means we have to move this. If you look at one of these stereo jacks, this will work as a second ground to cut the ground signal, which if this pedal was wired the way it was, would not mean anything because you had both the grounds. And you also didn't have a battery anyway. Pull this one through here. Always pre-tin your wires unless you're doing something very special that doesn't require it, but more often than not what you're doing does require you to pre-tin your wires. So there we have it. That. And now you can take this blue piece of wire and we can connect it over here. And we'll put that in where, if you have an understanding of how these switches work, you can wire them up in a couple of different ways. But the way I usually show you guys, I show you because it's the easiest way, I think, to make it make sense. And I like that way because of that. Even though technically every row is a switch, it's easier to visualize it if you wire it a little bit different. I'm going to replace this wire, I think, because it's a little bit damaged. So there we have the wire now. Instead of jumping between those two switches, I jump like those. And if the LED isn't wired in this pedal the way I usually do. I don't have a trim pot that will fit here, but I have this one. And it's supposed to be a 10K, and this is a 10K. So I'm gonna wire it up this way. It doesn't matter technically, but you should put things in through the holes through the right way. You can't really just, you know, not solder things in place. To some of you that's obvious, but to some of you it isn't. I'm telling you now that, like, if you're supposed to have a trim pot in your pedal in order for it to work, and you feel like, oh well, maybe that's a cool mod to just replace the trim pot with a regular pot so that I can sub out and make it cool, then, you know, you can't just not solder something because you later think you're gonna put it in. I mean, there might be some kits out there where it's like you can do that, but then you have to make sure you know that that's the case, because most likely if you don't know it, you might be making a mistake and assuming something that you don't like, that isn't obviously told to you, is wrong. Here's the trim pot. I looked closer at this transistor here, and it's really hard for you to see. I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna zoom in. I hope that you can see it. But can you see that right there is a little plus sign? And this is a common mistake, but I didn't think I would see it. Electrolytic capacitor has a plus and a minus side, and the minus side is how it's marked. It's indicated by its minus side, which is this white stripe. On the board, it's marked by its plus side, which can be confusing. And it's one of those things that people, when they start building, can get wrong. This one is the opposite way of how it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna see if I can heat this up and pull these legs out. As you can see, there's a little plus sign that indicates that it's not the side. It's not the side with the stripe that is going to go there. And this is one of those things that I've known about this for a long time. But honestly, I do actually understand if you make that mistake. It's a little bit strange that we have a double sort of language when it comes to electrolytic capacitors, where we're on the board we're marking one side, but on the part we're marking a different side. And no one ever really tells you, it doesn't say anywhere So you're just supposed to know it. It's you know, it's just you either know or you don't know, you know. It's one of those things. Oh my god, what the hell was that sentence? You either know or you don't know, you know. Anyway, a little bit of new solder. I think I just broke this a little bit right there. So I'm gonna scrape this off just to expose some of this connecting area right here. Right there. And I'm gonna put a little bit of flux right there. And I'm just gonna see if I can. There we go. I hope that will help. We will notice. If it doesn't, and then I'll have to clean it up. Yeah, but now that is in there and its minus leg is going to the minus, which makes me wonder if he has done the same mistake here. Which I think, yes. We need to try to get this one out as well. And obviously you would make the same mistake twice because you wouldn't. If you don't know, you don't know. But it's sort of sucks because I could tell from the text that was in the auction that this person thought that building pedals would be a lot more fun, and that he has made some mistakes and that he doesn't have the tools and knowledge available to him to know exactly what went wrong. And he most likely thought that he did everything right and that it still just didn't work, and that, you know, electronics are like magic or something. Which I mean, I noticed that sometimes in the comments on my videos as well, that there are a certain sort of belief that these things are hard to do. The issue now is everything else also wrong. Because, for example, these are not marked with a half moon for this one, which means this one could be turned around, which means I might have to go and look up the schematic. But I'm gonna just plug it in again and hope that it works. But if it doesn't, I'm gonna have to look this up. Because it says EBC, which is the name of the legs, but depending on this part's data sheet, the leg numbering might be, or lettering might be opposite than what they are here. Which means that the emitter might be on this side instead of that side. The same thing goes for this. This one has a little pin that sticks out right there to indicate which side that is. I decided to put in the resistor and add in this little jumper wire and all of that I usually do. I also took a closer look at this one right here, and it's the opposite way than it's supposed to be. So this is also a mistake. You have to make sure you put in things the right way and that you don't make a mistake. Yeah, so these marks here are for what leg is going, and the emitter, or the E, it's not that leg but that leg, so it's supposed to be turned around in this way. And I'm gonna see if I can actually get it in there, because that would be good. Here we go. And everything looks good and it's proper connected. This is actually a really good pedal right now. I'm happy because I feel like usually you make one of these mistakes. This person, without throwing any shade, I hope you don't think that that's what I'm here to do. I'm just trying to educate. This person has done a lot of them, so this is a really good pedal to show. I'm gonna have to look this one up as well. I can sort of assume that if that one is put in wrong, this might also be put in the wrong way. But I'm gonna take a quick break because I need to drink some water, and I'm gonna plug this in and see if it works. Just see what happens. So that actually fixed it. It's all done now. There was a couple of wires that were in the wrong place. There were a couple of parts that were flipped around the wrong way, and yeah, just a little bit of mistakes here and there, but now it works, and it's actually a pretty cool pedal, so I'm thinking we're gonna listen to it now. Just a super quick little demo, because that's not really what this is about. I'll also leave a link to the actual kit in the description below. I think this is an easy pedal and could possibly be a good place to start if you want to do a pedal kit. But please, keep these things in mind. Make sure that you put your parts in the right way. Transistors and diodes and things like that. Some parts, they are labeled on it and you have to think opposite. Like, okay, the parts label is ground on an electric capacitor, but on the board it's a plus. So you have to flip it around, basically. Super easy beginner mistakes to do, so if you've done that, Don't worry about it. We all make mistakes. I'm pretty sure this trim pot, without actually looking into it, is a bias of some sort, maybe. Don't take my word for that, because I obviously haven't checked it. You can't just not put it in there. I'm pretty sure that this kit is not made so that you can just not have it there. Don't just ignore parts. Put everything in there, and if you want to mod it or change things around later, make sure that you at least make sure things work first. Or mod the kit as you're building it. But if you're a beginner, you know, don't do that immediately. Wire up the switch the way I like to wire them up instead of the way they show you in the kit, because this is just easier. Like my way of doing it with using the outer sides for each jack and the middle for the LED, that's an easier way to do it. And the way they do it, it just confuses you and makes things look more complicated. Obviously it doesn't matter because every row is its own switch, but for your beginner sake, I think you should do the way I do it. Color code your wires. Use only black for ground and only yellow for lead and red for power, stuff like that. Do things. You don't have to do exactly like I say, but do it so that you can make sense of it. And I know that there are YouTubers out there that will say things like color coding wires are for noobs and things like that. But first of all, if you're a beginner, you're a noob, and that's okay. Like there's no shame in that, okay? And second of all, those YouTubers are toxic and you shouldn't watch them. Telling people that you shouldn't make life easy for yourself and do things in a way that works for you is very, very bad. If you buy the kit and you're confused, check out this video and hopefully it works. If it doesn't work and you have issues, talk to me in the comments below. I'll try to help you. This kit is so tiny. Look at it. We could neaten all of this up and we could fit this in a smaller box, really smaller box, like one of these. You know, pretty big difference. It might not be very easy to do if you're a beginner, because you really have to think about space and things like that, but it's okay. You don't have to put it into one of those. But I'm just saying we could rehouse this, mod it, change some things around, see how crazy we could make this. We might put it into a delay pedal or something. I don't know. Let me know if that sounds fun. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. I hope this helped. Let's jump into a little listen, but before I go, I just want to say that I would appreciate if you liked the video to like it, and if you not already subscribed, consider subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to stay awesome and cool, and see if you can find a cool pedal kit to build. Don't let tiny little beginner mistakes or being confused because you put something in the wrong place stop you from having fun. This is a fun hobby, and I promise you that you're going to enjoy it. But you have to be patient, you have to take it slow, you have to work in your own pace and not rush things. And you're going to have a great time. So, I'll see you, hopefully, in the next video. Bye-bye for now.